Hello, good morning.
Sorry that it always makes you jump there.
Oh, no, it didn't this time.
Okay, okay.
A lot has happened,
Oh, okay. Let's jump into it.
as always. I guess I'll just start with the journals and it'll lead us through because this is before our last session. Let me share before the whole debacle.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so drifting off, had a young man bent over and crippled just come put his face in my face. I thought he was crippled. He had curly brown hair, wild, all over the place. His eyes were just bizarre. I can't even describe it. I don't even know what it's from. It just startled the hell out of me. My adrenaline just went zing because
Oh,
it was like right in my face. And then plus I had the song Love Shack going through my head still. It was quiet all day until now. I was thinking about Eden and the TED Talk. I guess she's got a lot of anger around it. And then I put, oh, that's why he was bent over because I was on my hands and knees and he was mocking me, getting my face in the lyric. It was like, bang, bang on the door, baby, bang, bang. So his eyes were not right. I think there were two or three different colors. Blue, of course, standing out. That seemed to be the color of a lot of possessed people, at least in my experience so far. I'm not sure if it's the human eye color or the demon eye color. Maybe it's a mix. And I thought, oh, he was not crippled. He was pretending to be. I think he was mocking me. And I went, no, he was dancing wildly and his legs were flying all over the place because that's why I thought he was crippled. He was rapping his knuckles on top of my head each time the lyrics said,
oh,
bang,
goodness.
bang on the door, baby, bang, bang. And then I felt a sore spot on the top of my head
Oh
develop.
my gosh.
So I did a sketch of him. I asked Eden what she wants to do with him. She wants to hang him by his hair, jam forks into each of his eyes,
Good.
cut off his tongue. And that's when I said, his tongue, really? She goes, yeah. She showed me that he would lick her face all the way up. It was to mock and belittle her. He would rap on her head, and then they would lift my head up, and he would lick my face. Lift my head up by the hair, and then lick her from the chin to the forehead, singing "Bang Bang" on the door, baby, as he whacked her on the head with his knuckles. I'm pretty sure he was on some sort of amphetamine as well. I think cocaine. And then all of a sudden, I saw cocaine on mirrors on the table. So once everybody was done raping me or mocking me, the ball boy, meaning the balustrade grandson, took off the collar, shoved me into the bathroom, and said, clean yourself up at least. You're a sight. It's like, well, I wonder why I'm a sight. Anyway, washed my face and genitals with a hand towel and got dressed when I came out. There was just a couple of people snorting cocaine and laughing. A butler of some sort took me out to the car, and the ball boy was already in there waiting. So these people are so depraved and they love it. As he was licking my face and wrapping my head, I guess wrapping on my head is when I was asking God to punish them swiftly. I remember I told you that that was the night that Chris had some beers and he was being rude, and I said, punish him quickly. Well, I think this memory was the same night. Yeah, it was after Chris finally fell asleep, and then I remembered this. I said it was in the bathroom where Eden's anger started to rise. It was in the car ride home when she lipped off to the ball boy, and he put his hand around her throat and threatened her and her family. When the car stopped is when he kicked me out of the car with his foot. Then I limped for a block or two back to my car. Then on the drive home, I sideswiped a car. Was that incident. Eden felt great anger and humiliation and despair. Michael piped up and said he was massively indignant. After the boy threatened me not to talk, I said, go ahead and kill me then. He said, don't worry about that. We'll take care of your family first. And that's when I realized I'd better shut up. It was shortly after that I went to the doctor for migraines. They prescribed me Zoloft. I took them for 2 days and flushed them down the toilet on the third day. When I got back to the house, I entered quietly so I would not wake up mom. Now, this is when I was adult living with mom. I went to the bathroom and washed up more. I remember standing there looking in the mirror at myself. My mascara and eyeliner were smeared all over. I felt like a ghost. And I was a sight. My hair was matted, my back was sore from whipping, my genitals hurt. I gingerly put my pajamas on, went to bed. I had to sleep on my stomach. So this is before Melissa called me. Let's
Oh,
see.
gosh.
Oh, I'll show you the picture the sketch. So here it is. Let me make it bigger. So I had sketched the table, but I kept thinking, well, okay, he was just leaning on it. So there's me, and I know I look small, but I was actually an adult, and so was he. But because he was above me and over me, I think is why she sketched him so large.
Mhm.
So, anyways, bang, I put the lyrics. He'd say bang, bang, bang on the door, and he'd hit my head with each bang. And then everybody's moving, everybody's grooving, baby. And then someone behind me would lift my head up with the collar or with my hair, and he'd lick my face. And then back down, bang, bang, bang on my head. And then the next lyric was around and around and around, and he'd lick my face again. And he was dressed. It's just his hair was really wild, and he had these strange eyes. So he's dancing, putting his face up to mine. Said when we were done, the ball boy pushed me into the bathroom. Oh, and I wrote that down. Threw my clothes at me. I washed my face and genitals, got dressed. So yeah, this is it. And I remember what it was. I don't know if you remember when I told you I was destroying the Balistrieri house where I was abused,
Yeah.
and that as the house disappeared, I saw like 20 or so what at the time I thought was just mob people. And then I realized later, no, there were, and it was like 20 people around there. But I realized that those 20 shadow people were actually the 20 people in this party where I was the play toy, sex play toy for them to abuse. And do you know what part of the lyrics are in this song? Let me show you. Where did I put it? So if you see a faded sign on the road that says 15 miles to Love Shack, yeah, I'm heading down the Atlanta Highway. Got me a car that's as big as a whale. Now, this was another boy that was raping me during this song, and he happened to have an extremely large penis. So they called him a whale, and the in my mouth that went. It says, we're heading down to the love shop. I got me a Chrysler that seats about 20. When I read these lyrics, I went, are you kidding me? Because there was 20 people in this party. So I don't know if that was planned or a coincidence or what. So hurry up and bring your jukebox money. And then you've got the Love Shack, the lyrics. The sign says, woo, stay away, fools, because love rules at the Love Shack. Now, here's what got me when I read this. Well, it's set way back in the middle of a field, just a funky old shack, and I gotta get back. Well, that made me remember previous when Claire and her good friend Katie were trying to escape the training camp. And it was a little old shack set in the back of the middle of a field. So when Eden was being abused with this song, and they must have played this song 10, 15 times, just like they did, that Hall and Oates song, Rich Girl, Bitch Girl. Well, Eden's she's being abused, wrapped on the head, whatever. And finally, this lyric triggered the other part, the clairvoyant part as a child. And so Eden allowed herself to disappear into Claire, who was remembering the pleasant experience she had with her friend Katie and thinking it should be a love shack. It should be where good things happen. It should be where there's glitter and niceness and whatever. And, even though these lyrics say glitter on the mattress, glitter on the highway, front porch, highway, it was the glitter that the little girls inside were Eden's using their memory to escape with. And I thought, well, that's fascinating that these two parts got in touch with each other.
Mhm.
Because I was like, well, aren't they all amnesic from each other? But they're not. I mean, some are and some aren't.
Yeah.
So it was Eden, Claire either coming to help Eden or Eden asking her for help. And so Claire's like, well, just remember that shack. Remember the excitement that you and Katie had and your friendship. And you got these three bitches over here we'll get to the rest of that in the journal, but it was Eden's way of escaping by using Claire's memories. And I was blown away by that. Saying hugging and a kissing, dancing and a loving, that was the pleasant parts. And then they would try to block out because we're wearing next to nothing. It's hot as an oven. So it was like this back and forth going on for Eden. As she was trying to escape, she was disassociating, but not into a new part, into an old part. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know that could be. So, and then the lyrics just, repeat again. But I looked up the meaning of this, and it's actually a thing in where is it? Atlanta? Yeah, heading down the Atlanta Highway. So I don't want to go off on that tangent. So that was that. So 14, here we go.
Diana, what you've survived is unbelievable.
Mm, It's like I want to say thanks, but not.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for acknowledging it. Yeah. I'm blown away that I'm not a basket case. I really am.
I'm
So I
sure.
think this is the next night. I was thinking about giants in the Bible because I had seen a documentary, and in that documentary, they show actual pictures of people in like the mid and late 1800s, pictures in newspaper articles. I think maybe 15-ish pictures of actual real live people that are like 10, 12, 10 feet tall, standing next to a 6 feet. I mean, there's a picture of a black woman in a lovely dress going like this, and she's a giant with a full grown man standing next to her, and his head comes to here.
Oh,
He
gosh.
stays 6 foot. That makes her 8, 9 feet tall. And it got me thinking about the Bible. Well, here's a picture, and they show like if you have to pay to watch this documentary. I'm gonna see if I can get a membership and download it so I can share it with you. But they showed probably, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 different pictures of actual pictures from the late 1800s of 8 different super tall people. And then they next present you with newspaper articles from the same era, 20 or 30 newspaper articles saying so and so found bones of a giant. So there's a giant lost there, this particular giant who's got a name is lost in Chicago. And I was like, are you kidding me? So we got pictures, we got newspaper articles, and then they go into the architecture of buildings all over the world, and why are these doors 20, 30 feet high? And I think giants existed. I really do. I
Well,
mean,
Goliath was a big person.
yeah, and in that one passage in the Bible, it talks about that guy having a bed that was 10 feet tall and 6 feet wide.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, okay. And then that triggered me into thinking this, okay, then I remember that very tall man at Himmler's castle. He was head and shoulders above everybody else. I remember telling John that I didn't know how he did it. Was it stilts or what? It suddenly hit me. Oh my gosh. Maybe this was one of those people of the bloodlines of the giants. When I had that thought, I shook, John. I
Oh,
physically shook. I was like, holy crap. I think I was in the presence of one of these things, whatever you want to call them. And then about 3 minutes later, I got an image in my mind of me. Remember, I had to lick his feet?
yeah.
It suddenly dawned on me, no, there were no stilts. It was just his feet. So he was that tall. He was anywhere from 18 to 24 inches taller than everybody else. He wasn't as large as the people in the pictures, but um, so that was a big aha. It's like, okay, I had to wrap my head around the fact, well, Alan brought that up in one or two talks. He says, well, no, in the Bible, what they're discussing are people of stature. They're giants. And I thought, well, you know what? I think Alan might be wrong on that one thing.
Yeah, I
Which
think.
he's not wrong on a whole lot of things.
Mhm.
So anyway, so the 15th, I can't keep track of what day happened with what with Melissa. Oh, okay. So Melissa is happening as this journal is going on. This is when I was furious in writing it.
Oh, yeah.
So Avery, so after I got done writing her letter and vented my anger, I laid down thinking I'm actually going to fall asleep while I get this. So I just saw three children dressed laying on their backs on concrete with their knees in the air and their hands behind their heads. They're like this, but on their back. I said, this was at School Sisters of Notre Dame. I had just come out of the refrigerator storage locker with a backpack and was walking down the sidewalk towards the boat. There was someone there in charge of them, those three children. I remember not wanting to think about what would happen.
Remember that I started to keep going. I started to read this and I nearly lost it.
All the hundreds of different things that could happen to them. I just focused on getting to the boat.
Unbelievable.
As I got to the boat, I turned and looked back. They were being smashed to death I forgot right now until I'm talking to you. Smashed to death with a bat by a group of bloodthirsty young boys. There was blood flying all over. Said that place was a slaughterhouse all day long, everywhere. And I think a little bit of time passed. So I stood back at the boat dock looking over the whole training area from one side very slowly all the way to the other. There was hand combat, people getting sliced up with knives. There were people getting smashed with bats. There were dogs tearing people apart. There were children in cages. And so there was no humanity at all. And I started crying. My head started hurting. And I remember earlier in the day,
Oh,
Chris came up and asked me how many people I had killed.
did he really?
Yeah, and it surprised me, but I answered quite quickly. I said, I stopped counting. And he
Wow.
looked at me, he nodded, and he walked away because that's something that he has said to me many times. He said, even at his work, because the electrical lines and stuff, he stopped counting. And when I said that, he just gave me this nod of understanding and compassion, and he just walked away. I was blown away. So I lost hope for humanity that day. It was all savages. And throughout my life, John, whenever people have behaved badly, or Chris and I have a talk, I'll say to him, they're all just fucking savages. And that's Avery's talking. And I
Yeah.
never knew it till now. So just animals in human bodies. All of this as I was carrying body parts and blood to Chicago at sunset. I turned and got on the boat with the demon. The demon handed me a cigarette and I smoked it on the boat as we pulled away. Now, I guess I'm missing something here. I had an aha moment. Oh, yeah, I told you with the Avery's entry several days earlier that the demon is the nickname of my friend who I can call right now in Milwaukee.
Yeah, the dad.
His name is John Emanuele. His nickname was the demon. Well, Avery's is showing me more. Um, I turned and got in
Wait,
the
I'm sorry, but
boat.
his dad was named the demon, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he escorted me. Remember, I said that I remembered Top would call me Avery's. And then the people that would want me to be a courier in my various jobs throughout my life would approach me and say, Avery's. But he did in his house once as a little girl. And I turned to him, and my response is, you know, that's not the right way to say my name. I said it to Top, I said it to him, I said it to, except for customers because I knew they didn't know that. But we were in his house. He said a signal back to me, meaning, don't worry, he was fucking with me at the house. But here was he and I doing jobs together. If I told his son would never believe me right now. So the
Yeah.
demon handed me a cigarette and I smoked it on the boat as we pulled away. So he knew I smoked at the age of 7 or 8. He did not rape me or hurt me and made sure no one else did either. He was just my bodyguard. I think he was being manipulated and controlled or blackmailed by the mob, and this was his way of paying his dues or something
Probably
or
blackmail.
whatever. Because he was in construction, so maybe they gave him jobs or something, and this was his way of paying, I don't know. So my neighborhood friend's father, I think they had some dirt on him. That's why he did this particular job. I could tell it was distasteful to him as well. He said to me, and he would do this, Jen, from the outside. He would put his hand on my forearm, but his thumb would be on top, and he would say, "Come on, let's get this over with." And the thumb, I can't do, I could do it to someone else, but imagine the thumb on top pushing dead center of the forearm with the other part of the hand down,
It's a,
except it's the reverse
it's
direction.
a pain compliance technique.
Was it? But he didn't make it painful. It was just pushing a button. And he'd say
Oh,
it was just pushing a button. He wasn't jamming it in, but and it wasn't gentle. It was just, come on, let's go get this over with, eh? That's what he'd say, eh? I was sitting with my head in my hands with the backpack still on because I was not allowed to remove it. I lost track of time. Then he did it again, put the center of my right forearm, and he said, come on, let's get this over with, eh? I stood up and he walked me to the butcher shop. That's where I gave the backpack to the doorman. It's 4 a.m. And so I had all that Melissa stuff up till about midnight or 1 o'clock. I
oh, yeah.
finally got that settled and I'm trying to lay down. So I'm spending another 3 hours with this stuff. I have not slept at all. I thought I was just going to be up all day, all night, all day. I was up until 2 a.m. last night. And that was after the research with Melissa. Under the red light this afternoon, I saw an image of me walking into a room. It was the slaughterhouse area. There were only about 3 or 4 people in there getting ready. I said, Jon, I don't want to do this. I didn't call him the demon because he was Jon to me. He was my friend's father. He took a deep breath, put his hand on my forearm and he said, you'll be just fine. I'll be here when you're done to take you home. And I thought myself, I've gone from the outdoor slaughterhouse to the indoor slaughterhouse. And then I started bawling and bawling. In real time. I just wanted someone to hold me and love me and protect me, but no one's capable. Just savages. When he put his hand on my forearm, his thumb was directly on top, center pushing down. As I sat on the boat, now this is on the way back, I had my hands behind my neck. Again, another backpack like this, just bent over, feeling the backpack staring at the floor. Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess I'm switching in time here. When I walk in this building, I hand off the backpack. I say, Jon, I don't want to do this. He says, I'll be here waiting. They put the apron on me. It's like that big butcher shop
Oh, 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 oh.
apron. And when that happened is when I switched into Livy, the one who did the actual slaughtering. I would stretch my neck to get started. And I remember her thinking, let the show begin. Um, when we were all done and the apron was taken off, that's when I switched back to Avery's and got another backpack to take to Milwaukee. I stared at the crescent moon on the ride home. It was just a sliver of light. When the doorman took, again now, when I'm arriving, when the doorman took the backpack, he handed it to another man who took it to a refrigerated room. I think I took adrenochrome there and brought back money and vice versa. I think it happened too much to keep track of. With the exception of when the backpack was cold, I knew it was body stuff. And when it was not cold, it had to have been money. So it was this exchange between Chicago and Milwaukee. And so I would get there, either I would have to perform on stage and go to the slaughterhouse. But if there was not a stage event going, then I would just go into the slaughterhouse. So there's yet the third part that Eliza, who did the actual guillotine things on stage, and if there was time, let's send you
Yeah,
to the
it's
slaughterhouse, turn you into Livy, you send you up to the roof and do rituals. But on the way there, you're going to curry your body parts, and on the way back, you're going to curry money. So I had three parts working, switching and working together, all amnesic of each other.
it's
Amazing. In one night, three parts.
yeah.
And I was like, no shit.
Well, you probably, Diane, it wouldn't surprise me if you had more parts, right? You know, you got three primary parts that night, but
I
however,
know, I know.
three parts, right?
Yeah. So what is this? The 16th. So that is, oops. Oh, this is when I've written the letter. I'm rereading it. I'm debating. I'm thinking, well, I'll talk to Jon about it the next day. So these are memories coming up. So I just got a disturbing image. It's of about 8 or 10 different, oh, yeah. Oh my God. You remember the spirit cooking party where we had to eat brains? Well, there was another table there. It's about 8 to 10 different heads on
In the
top of,
same event?
yeah, at one table. And they are moving. So they're in a table with just their head. So you know that means that their body is somehow confined underneath. This is a big tablecloth, so you can't see it. Each is like a different ethnicity from a different country, and they literally had different hats and accoutrement from the country that they're
Oh,
from.
so these are not decapitated heads, these are still.
They're still alive and wedged in. I was trying to think of the logistics of how you do that, unless there was a cage under each one, but they were really only like 3 feet apart from each other. So they're all jammed together in one cage and they can't move their bodies, or they're in individual cages and there was literally only shoulder width space between them, now that I think about it. So you got a head here and a head here, and on this table there's like 8 or 10. All different it's like if you saw a picture of people from 10 different countries with their native garb on, except it was just from the head up. And the guy that was in the corner that really caught my attention had an English, British, like not really a top, well, it was, I guess, kind of a top hat. It was like something that the people at the party would wear. Anyway, just their heads popping up through the table. They are not able to get out. Just their heads there, moving and looking around. Some had hats, headdresses, mustache, men, women, and children. Oh, they're just looking around and unable to get out of it. Up until this image, my legs have been twitching on and off. I was like, why are my legs twitching? I still don't know why my legs are twitching. Their heads. Oh, yes, that's right. So they've got this costume on, right? But their heads are already cut. That's why the hats are on. So you don't really see it yet. A server comes through and lifts the head of the one you like and serves you brain out of it with a triangle spoon type thing. Some have died, some have not. So they put them there alive, cut their head, put the hats and shit on, and then when people went through the serving line, the hat would come off, or somehow it was connected to that piece of skin, and that would be lifted up, and they, depending on how much they scooped out, is how long it took you to die. I saw the table and froze. I wasn't sure what I was looking at for a while. This was for the VIPs. I was at the table for the lesser people who didn't have all the tribal garb on, or whatever you want to call it. I see the Queen and Prince Philip being given their plates, so they're not waiting in line. They are on their throne chairs. Everyone's milling around with their plates, eating it. It's giving me anxiety as I approach the head that's on the table that I'm for the line I am in. I just got the distinct vibe. These people trapped in the table with their skulls cut off. That one man in particular, the one in the corner, because my vision of him is seeing the corner first and then the other heads laid out behind, was that man somehow was one of them and betrayed them, and this was his punishment, to watch people literally eat his brains while he is alive, and he watches until he dies. It was like a punishment. And that by making the people of the group he was once part of and betrayed, they eat from his head. They get the distinct message of what will happen to them unless they stay in line. And I think I got that vibe from listening to different quiet, hushed little chit chat, because you don't talk too loud about that shit there. You know what I mean? They're whispering to each other. Yeah, he did. And oh my God. Well, we gotta make sure, kind of chit chat like that. So it's so twisted. And these people are not eating it with enjoyment. They are eating it somewhat slowly and cautiously. They know it is a message. Although the Queen and Prince Philip are eating it quite easily and happily. The funny thing is that they're happy to eat from the heads of the people that they don't know. It's from the man that they do know that they are reluctant. They know it could be them. And it just hit me right now. Maybe all these 10 people with their tribal garb on were 10 people from various nations that they wanted to send a message to, that were once part of the cult and or fucked up somehow. And so they just, here's a table full of them, all you nations out there. So I wonder how many different nationalities were in the group, because it was a distinct message. I said I can even hear someone saying that it's because of the lottery, like they hold some sort of lottery and this guy lost. I think this is a factor too. It's like an annual ritual, and it's just the unluck of the draw if you wind up being on that table and being eaten. They sacrifice one, oh, that's right. They sacrifice one of their own each year to give a message to the rest. The cover story for their absence in place, regardless of who it is. So it's not that they fucked up, but they're all required to do a lottery. And if you pick the bad card or whatever they use, you're the sacrifice. But I think the lottery is held at the meeting, or maybe as they enter the door. Because imagine you enter the door, you get your lottery card, you see that you're the one. Someone's going to scoop you off and lock you in the cage, right? They're not going to let you mill around. You're not going to hang out and volunteer for your brains to be eaten out. So somehow they organized that. It had something to do with the seating chart. You had to know when you wanted to sit by the queen and when you did not want to sit by the queen, because sometimes you were safe there and sometimes they would ask you there with the sole intent of you being the one killed. And sometimes they made it very random and put it under a plate somewhere. So there was some strange lottery happening. It would be something placed under a plate or a chair or a glass. Each time it would be different. And then someone would be in front on stage reading a riddle. And as the riddle is solved, it would determine a seat number or a plate or something. And if you happen to be sitting in that location, you were it. So, so I forgot until now reading it. It was progressive throughout the night, each hour beginning with the lowest in stature on up. By midnight is when they ate
It,
the
this just continued.
Yeah, so it was like a ritual to keep everyone in line, and just so you know, we're just gonna randomly pick one of you to have your brains eaten out. Anyway,
This is kind of
I
a
said I
this
still don't understand why I am there at all. I'm dressed up like a boy in a tuxedo, and then I realized, oh dear God, it just occurred to me that I think I was the one that cut the skulls. Because, John, when I was in the butcher shop, they gave me an electric device, you plug it in, and it's got, like a circular blade, but without a shield, protective shield. It's like what you would see a surgeon use
Yeah.
on a head. So I think that's what my purpose was. Totally forgot all about this until right now. It's the same type of saw that Livy used in the butcher shop. When I thought that, then I saw myself in an apron before the party. I just went around cutting skulls. After that, I took off my apron and got in line to eat. It was the ones that were selected through the evening that were cut in front of the audience. But that was done by a server, butler, chef, whatever you want to call them. Oh, I totally forgot because of all this Melissa stuff. I'm sorry, Livy and Brianna, but that's why we read this in session. So awesome. Awesome. But still, I don't understand why they would have the help, me, in line mingling with them. I mean, Jack was there, but I still don't get it. So, um, yeah, and you knew this going in right now, and I forgot. So the 17th. So this is the night I sent the email on the 16th. You and I talked on the 17th. I ignored Melissa until that night. Well, she sent me 3 texts and 3 emails, which I didn't read the emails, but I or the texts, I don't think. Yeah, I just went to bed because I was like, you know what? I need just my space.
Yeah.
So I'm laying down. I said, just got the image of an Asian girl, very pretty, with her hair pulled back in a ponytail with bangs. She had tears in her eyes and her head was tilted sideways and down. And I thought, well, who is that? Oh my gosh. The typos. I think that is Katie. And I had no idea she was an Asian girl. I just knew she was a girl. I couldn't see her face or anything till now. And this is after lying here thinking about Melissa. She responded via text. I have to read John her message. She does not remember what she said. That means she lost time. And that actually means she has parts. Oops. She has parts, and it was a part that was attacking me. And I do remember her voice changed at this. So I'm having these ahas. I
Yeah.
remember Katie. I get up and have a cigarette, and then I'm thinking about Melissa, reading her text. So actually, now that I think about it, it was all the way through. Her voice would change. I wasn't conscious of it at the time, but remembering it, I'm like, that's right. When I realized that, it occurred to me that she has parts, and it was a part that was talking to me. And it's a part that sabotages her life. Because
Um,
why else do that? And if there is a part that's coming up and talking to me, that is a part that's asking for help. Because I'd never heard it before, and she knows what's going on with me. Once I read the email and realized that she lost time and had parts, I knew I had to help her. She's my friend. So sitting here thinking about how I could talk to her, how to access her part and talk to it, and how to talk to her conscious mind for her to realize something is going on. I kind of have a plan. It was right after that that I saw Katie, my first and only real friend, and she was sad, just like Melissa's right now. So these 2 instances, real time in the past, are flipping back and forth. I remember when I first met Katie, that's what she looked like, the sad whatever. I remember I reached out and I put my pinky on her pinky. She slowly looked up at me. I gave her a slight smile and a nod. I said to her in my mind, it will be okay. Her eyes got wide. She heard me. I didn't say it out loud. And then I heard her. She said, I heard that. You can do it too. And then my eyes got big. We got excited inside. We could not let anyone see us smile, so we kept a straight face, but I could feel her excitement along with mine. I moved my finger away so no one would see. That moment we were friends, but we had to hide it. We started sharing images back and forth in our mind. And then that just reminded me of something else. After dinner, I was sitting there listening to an Alan talk of a video, my video that Melissa posted. At the same time, I decided to reread the email that I sent to her. Just as I got to the end of that email, she called. And I
Oh.
and so it's like we could hear each other.
Hmm.
I did not answer, but I thought it was interesting that we did it again because we do it all the time. Melissa and I always know when we are thinking about each other, just like me and Katie did. I read her three texts about 30 minutes later, and I just got a surge of hope inside of me and also incredible sadness. And I realized I think I was feeling her sadness. And I thought, okay, well, I wasn't going to talk to her, but then I changed my mind because I was asking God for wisdom.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is all what happened when I went to bed. I have to talk to Melissa. My first thought was to heck with her. I'm done. I realized that's Eden. Eden doesn't want to have anything to do with women ever again. I told Eden that I understand her point of view, but I also asked her if she could separate Melissa from those two girls that hurt her. It was actually three,
yeah.
to differentiate the two. Are
That's
they
right.
wearing black robes? Are they in 2024? Are they 1980? No, whatever that year was. And if Melissa does have parts and those parts are asking for help, doesn't Eden think it's worth helping her? Means like, well, yeah, I guess.
Oh,
It
that's
was
good.
right after that that I saw the image of Katie, which I read earlier. And then the image of Katie took me back to Melissa, and it was going back and forth, back and forth. In the middle of all this, I said my prayers asking God for wisdom. Thank you, God. I'm hopeful again. I'm just remembering that during all of that rage I felt about Melissa and writing that letter, I had the love shack going through my head. It was Eden that was rereading that email over and over and over. She got to vent her rage through words, but sending it is what satisfied her. Once that was done, she relaxed. Mostly, she said. So now that she's not so angry, the love shack's going through her head again, except different lyrics, and I have to look them up. And it says, and that's the thing, it's set right back in the middle of the field, just a funky old shack, and I gotta get back. When Eden heard those lyrics back then, it sent her to Katie and Claire and Katie, because they saw the little shack to escape to, and it was in the middle of a field. So now Eden is not angry. She's showing me the rest of what happened in her mind. The lyrics made her think of Katie. She was thinking about Katie to escape from the torture she was going through. She wanted to escape to the shack, like Katie and Claire were trying to. She was in despair because she couldn't, and Katie was dead. But she was happy that she could be with her in her mind. And that's when Eden kept singing that song to me, Diana. She wanted me to remember Claire and Katie, and it's all connected with Melissa because Melissa and Diana have the same thing Katie and Claire did. They can feel each other and hear each other psychically. Katie had seen the shack once, but she couldn't figure out how to get there. Once Claire knew about the shack, she told Katie that we should put our puzzle parts together and figure it out. So they're
Yeah,
accessing another part
yeah.
puzzle. I think that was part of their clairvoyant training was puzzles. And so I was like, well, why didn't the MK Ultra keep these things separate? But I think in the psychic arena, they work together somehow. And they did. I've had this really sharp pain in my left side of my neck most of the evening too. I think that's where Claire was hit with the butt of the gun.
Okay.
Plus the bang bang lyric was Katie
Yeah.
getting shot. And she pushed, Eden's pushing that out of her mind, just remembering the happy times. I wish I didn't have to go to the dentist tomorrow. And then I said, the lyrics also say, as big as a whale, I told you about that. The 20 people, I told you about that. It just dawned on me there was about 20 people there, and I was hearing the lyric yesterday when Eden was furious. So, But now she's not furious and she hears the other lyrics about the shack in the field. That's what brought her some peace. It was her escape. It took her back to Claire and Katie. And it was just gobsmacked. The synchronicity that God gives to us are just fantastic. And I said, thank you, Father. Because when I asked him for wisdom, this is what he gave me. I was like, I don't want to say unbelievable because it is believable. And
Right.
it's credible, so I don't want to say incredible, but it's just
Yeah.
it's awesome, I guess is the
Yeah.
word, you
Yeah.
know. Um, so that next day I had to go to the dentist. And I don't want to pull up the thing yet. I have so much to tell you. I hope you have time.
Of course
Uh,
I do.
so stop share. Okay. So the next morning I'm going, okay, I know I got to talk to Melissa. I'm not mad anymore. Something left. God gave me this insight, but I don't want to read her emails yet because I know it's going to bring up parts again. So I'm like, okay, we're going to leave that on a shelf till after the conversation, but I got to go to the dentist. So I go to the dentist. And as I'm driving, John, I'm like, okay, guys. Okay, we've got Brave and we've got Teresa. You both had terrible experiences with pain and MK Ultra at the dentist's office. I know that you're nervous. I know that you're scared. I said, I want you to look through my eyes, be present while I'm driving. I want you to start differentiating. Is this a different town? Yes. Is it a different street? Yes. Is it a different building? Yes. So I got the two that are, the tooth issues. And so they're like, okay. I said, do you trust me? Yeah. I said, they're just going to clean it. It might be a little uncomfortable, but there's not going to be pain. There's not going to be any torture, so they're okay. We're sitting in the waiting room and they're kind of, I said, keep differentiating, right? So guess what walks in as a patient, another patient? A large black woman with a huge, long black gown on. And the bottom of the gown is cut like this, right? So you got like 4 or 5 different little points. It was a witch dress, John. And all of my parts start flipping out. And they're like, it's a witch. And I go, okay, I can understand how you can think that. Everybody's nervous because we're at the dentist's office, and this looks like I want you to differentiate. Where are we?
You've already just tried to tell them it's not what it looks like. And
Right, but I'm saying, okay, it's time to differentiate. You need to look out through my eyes.
yeah.
You've destroyed your prison and you're living in Lake City. But okay, is this the same place where you had your incident? And I got like 8 or 10 people. Well, no. Okay, let's keep differentiating. So maybe she is a witch, but can she get us right here and right now? Maybe. And
Yeah.
so Barry pipes up my secure all the protector guys jump in. They said, there ain't no way. They're checking the ingresses, the egresses. They're like, you know, Pitt, Chris taught Pitt how to hit with this, so if she comes after us, we're going for it, So the security guys are saying, okay, you're protected, and they're watching the exit. And so finally this other lady with the witch dress sits down and then Booker, the one who's laying in bed anxious waiting for dad to come get him, starts flipping out because why do we have to wait so long? I don't want to wait so long. Why do we gotta wait? I said, okay, Booker, I get you're upset. It's the same feeling, I know, but look through my eyes and let's differentiate. Where are we? When are we? What did you see then? What are you seeing? So it's this, and so finally he calmed down and we had about 5 more minutes. And so finally things are, I could tell that there's people are on edge and uncomfortable, but they're not flipping out. They're just, okay, let's trust her. Let's trust her. So they call my name and we go and we get our x-rays. And I know, and that wasn't such a big deal. I'm like, because I'm talking to all of them. There must have been 25 or 30 parts. I said, keep differentiating and keep looking out of my eyes. Keep smelling with my nose, keep hearing with my ears. Be right here, present with me right now. And let's keep differentiating. And if someone came up with something, I'd say, okay, well, is that here present right now? Well, no. I said, okay, we're here. We're not back there anymore. We're here. Your prison is destroyed. So then we go from the x-ray room into the exam room where, the doctor, checks stuff out, the actual dentist, not the hygienist. And as we're waiting, I said, well, okay, I want you to understand that she's going to be in your mouth and poking and prodding,
That's
and
good.
you might feel a little pressure, but it's not going to be painful. Look through my eyes, hear with my ears, keep differentiating. And so the doctor comes in, and I wasn't too they weren't too freaked out because they're differentiating. They're like, okay,
That's
okay,
outstanding, Dana.
okay. And then the dentist does it the thing. Well, actually, before the dentist, I noticed I'm laying in the chair. My hands are like this on the armrest. And I said, you know that you can relax your arms, don't you? Oh, okay. So they relaxed, and I said, you can lift them up and move them. Why don't we do that?
Oh, okay.
So I said, so you're not strapped down. I said, move your
Oh, okay,
ankles. You're
okay, okay,
not strapped down.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. We're not strapped down. I said, right. I said, why don't let's stand up and go look out the window because we can do that. So I did that, and then I sat back down. We had another 2, 3, 4 minutes to wait, and they're like going, ah. Wow. Okay, we can get up, move anytime we want. I said yes. And if she just, I said we're gonna do that thing in the nose. Yeah, we're gonna kill her. If we're threatened. Okay. So everybody's like, and so they're starting to calm down. And then the dentist did her thing, and I felt my hands do this again. I said, you can lift your hands up and put them on your lap if you like. And I said, you can move your feet around and cross your legs if you like.
Mhm.
And it dawned on me that I hadn't been to the dentist. I was at the dentist last January before I met you. So none of them have ever been to the dentist in the present time.
Oh,
So anyway, the doctor does her thing, and they're finally like, she got done and left, and the nurse is making notes or whatever. And they're like, well, that wasn't bad at all. And I felt release of pressure in my neck and my shoulders and my jaw. And so then they walk you to the hygienist room. And so the hygienist does her, and I said, same thing as we were waiting. I said, well, why don't we? I said, there were 3 windows with blinds that go like this. I said, well, instead of looking at these gray blinds, I said, let's open them up and look at that beautiful tree out there. So one window, I thought I don't want to cross boundaries of, whoever's going to be working here. I said, and so that's what we laid there on the chair, relaxed, occasionally moving wrists and ankles, and looking out the window and going, yeah, this is better. And I said, yeah, I said, we're just cleaning our teeth. It's just maintenance. We don't have cavities. There's no pain. We're not going to get any pain. No one, the security guys are on, Petunia's going to get their nose, we're safe. And so the hygienist comes in, and I said, well, I hope you don't mind. We opened the blind so we could enjoy the tree. And she's like, oh no, I prefer it open myself. And she went and opened the other two.
oh, is
And
that
my
right?
parents were like, yay,
Okay.
she's a good guy, you know. And so the hygienist did her thing, and they were completely relaxed and comfortable. And when we walked out of there, I said, so this is a real normal dental visit. It's not the insanity you went through. I said, as long as you stay present with me here and now,
Yeah.
whatever. And so then I went to the grocery store, and I noticed my left ankle was tweaked a little bit. And I said, well, what's going on? Who's that? And no one really answered. But as I got in the store and walked around, that went away. And because normally after the dentist, my neck, shoulders, and jaw are jacked up just from the tension. And it's not like I'm laying there like this, you know, I'll lie there perfectly calm. But but because I wasn't conscious of the parts, the body memories were there. And it would last with me for 3 days. By the time I left the grocery store, I was perfectly relaxed. Even the ankle thing went away. And all I kept saying was, be present with me here and now. Look out my eyes, use my ears, use my nose, use my mouth, feel with my skin. Look at the store. We're not there. You've destroyed your prisons. And it was the most mind-blowing experience I've ever had.
Oh,
Mind-blowing. And so then I come home, do some parts work on something. Oh, yeah, I posted my videos and did some parts work, and then Melissa called me. And I I approached it as, well, okay, your email suggests to me that you don't remember saying several particular things. I said, so do you mind answering a yes or no question? She's like, no, go ahead. I said, do you remember saying this? Yes. Do you remember saying this? Yes. Do you remember saying this? And I was like, oh, well, shit, I'm wrong. She does remember, and they were the comments about you. And I said, well, I was just convinced from your text that you didn't remember parts of the conversation. And I was imagining that you might have parts and that, you might have lost 10 seconds during a 5-minute conversation. It's because your voice did modulate and change. And the last thing you said to me, I didn't recognize at all as your voice. I said, and so she's going into confusion. I said, maybe you want to revisit your conversation with Nilda, who is her childhood friend, who claims SRA but has no memories. I don't know how you can claim SRA without memories of it at all, except going online and wanting to be a part of a conspiracy theory or something. Because her friend, her name's Nilda, actually went on a tour, paid to go on a tour with some woman who claims to work with SRA and takes them on a tour to the Texas state capitol to show them a door and say, this is where you go into a tunnel for a deep underground military base, but there's actually no proof. And I thought, if that were me, number one, I'm not going to pay you to take me on a tour of my abuse site. I'm just going to go look at it myself with whatever security blanket person I need. I'm not going to pay to go on this. I think maybe Nilda is full of shit. That took me a couple days to click on. But I told, and I said, well, and she goes, no, I remember the whole thing all the time. And then she went into explaining, she said, something Alan said to me is that when I get into a high level of stress, that I forget the phraseology that he said to her, she said it to me, but that basically she changes and turns into kind of like a snarky bitch, which is what I got during the phone call. And still we're going back and forth and there's this tension. And finally, after about a 45 minutes or an hour, it was a 2-hour phone call. She said, well, I don't know anything about SRA. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to help you. I don't know, she's just really super anxious. And I said, well, what do you want to know? So well, I don't know how this parts business works. What is that about? And so she let me talk to her an hour about
okay,
parts.
okay.
And I was like, wow. And I think just that sheer ability to educate her and her willingness to hear washed away the parts inside of me that were pissed off at her because they know she doesn't believe Nilda. Some of them agree with her, but a lot of them felt if you're going to invalidate your friend who claims that, then you're invalidating me. But I didn't know that until this conversation. And so, it just, things worked out, they smoothed out, and, I apologized for this. I said, well, now that I know that about your personality, now if it happens again, I can react differently, but at the time I felt like you were attacking me by attacking Jon. Not that she was attacking you personally, but just anyway, but we cleared it up and, agreed to be, friends again. I agreed to be friends. Eden wasn't mad anymore.
That's good. Okay. Okay.
So, and then we okay, so then I'll get back into the journals.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah. I was out working outside in the morning. Oh, I gotta share. Shoot, I always forget that. So it's the day after we've, I guess, made up, and so I'm outside working, getting my garden beds ready, schlepping compost back and forth for about 4 hours, getting dirty. And so this is what I was thinking. I said, and I wrote a letter after I was done. Melissa, I keep having something going through my head, and I came to an understanding. You did say before anything else occurred, you asked me to keep a confidence. I will be honest with you. When you asked me that, to keep that confidence from Chris and Jon, the thought in my head was, well, I'm going to talk to Chris about it regardless. Jon, I don't know. So when I told you that I would not talk to either one of them, I was not being truthful to you. There was a part of me that wanted to know what you had to say. I was relieved when you sent the text about Chris being okay to talk to. I'd like to apologize for
he gave you
doing.
permission to talk to your husband.
I know. So I'd like to apologize for doing that. I realized what I should have said was, well, I don't know if I can do that or if I want to do that. Right now, I'm telling myself, I realized, ding, I'm telling myself if anyone ever asks me that again in the future again, I'm going to say, no, I can't.
Good. That's right.
So I just want to apologize for not being honest with you because it was a fib in that moment. And I'm not 100% sure why I did that. I think perhaps maybe I sensed your unease or something. I don't know. But I wanted to hear what you had to say, and that was not fair to you. If you had known that I would talk to Chris, I don't know about Jon, you may have reconsidered the entire thing. But when I look at it in the whole, and I realize that as much as I hate to admit it, you were led into a trap. Not out of malice, just habit from childhood, I think. Can I keep a secret? I wanted to align with you. So I have parts inside of me who have an automatic response to that. It's when the avalanche happened that I broke that promise. I'd like to apologize for that. I wasn't conscious or malicious, but upon reflection, I realize now that was really very unfair to you, and I'm very sorry. So I thought I got to own my shit, take my
There
backpack back.
we go. There we go.
And I thought, okay, she deserves that. And then, okay, so then that night, as I'm laying down to sleep,
Unbelievable.
um, so I just had a dog man come right up to my face. It was a different type of one. I was standing. I was not on a table like in a medical room before. This one was standing up like a man. He he is getting in my face, almost like a drill sergeant. He was not pleasant, but also not aggressive, just confrontational. And then some time passed. I said, now I just saw the dog men walking in front of us. And as I'm reading this to you now, they were in uniform.
They're in
Not the
uniform.
army uniform, but like their army dogman uniform. They were in front of us in uniform, us being, I should put front of us in uniform, a squad of us humans being trained by them, just like boot camp. We were outside in a secluded desert area. The tunnels took us away from the base out to the desert. And so that's kind of been rattling around in my brain for a couple days going, I think this happened before the medical procedure with the dog stuff. I think it was to accustom us to their existence and presence and decondition our shock and disbelief. It's not like they were just like I don't know how to describe it. I don't have the whole picture yet. So there's that. It's like, the hits just keep on coming, John.
Telling you.
And then as after I went and got my hair done. So that's why it's not up. I gotta cut. And I'm like pretty wiped out from doing, 4 hours of carrying compost, and because I don't just carry it, it's compost is dry like powder, and I put amendments in it and mix it up, and then you have to put water in it because it's water resistant, and stir it up with the water till it starts absorbing. And once you do that, then you can put it in your bed. So it's some physical work. And I'm thinking all the while I'm doing it. I said, Melissa, I was just rereading your emails, and you were right about my error and accusing you of not having time for me. So again, thank you for being a soft place to land. I'm just so sorry that I made that soft place so very upset. I hope not prickly. Please forgive me, Diana. So I thought I gotta own my shit now that I'm not plugged in.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was that.
Bless your heart. What a whirlwind.
I know.
Or,
And so then, yeah, last night it was funny because I watched her real history, and she she didn't have anybody to interview, so she just had some musings for an hour. And she was talking about what her week was like. And she didn't mention my name or what the controversy or what happened, but she said, I just lost some time. And she must have said lost time about 6 or 7 times. And I was like, really? Are you poking me in the eye or what? But I thought, you know what? I'm gonna let it go. If she's got parts, that could be one of them.
yeah, yeah.
So I lay down in bed, and Ruby wanted to be baptized by Jesus. So he did.
Huh.
And she hugged him and cried and had her moment. And then Geraldine said, I want to be baptized. So she had her time.
Okay.
And then Randy and Tate did too. And then Carrie Tula and Valley said, well, I'm next. I said, okay, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? And so what is that? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 people got baptized. And I ding, ding, ding. That needs to be part of their emotional checklist.
Oh, that's
They
good.
have new names, new pictures, new purposes. And are you baptized or not? Because
Yeah.
Diana's baptized and we want to be like her. We believe in God and we want Jesus to save us. So I said, okay. So I think that this thing with Melissa was necessary to get me to these understandings
Mhm.
and to understand how absolutely panicked and freaked out she was at the idea of losing me as a friend, which really blew me away. So that's a new experience as well. I realized it was me cutting her off, not the reverse.
That's right. That's right.
So I went in here, and after Ruby got baptized, remember that was Robot who turned into Rudy, who was rude.
Oh,
She
okay.
said, I want my name to be Ruby now.
Oh,
She went from a male image, to a female image with a male name, and now she has the same female image with a female name.
that's an interesting that there. Okay.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Isn't it? Yeah. So I went in here to change Rudy to Ruby to discover I forgot like 5 pages with for her. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And so I went in and put her name in. That's what I was doing before you and I talked. I went through all 10 different documents and 20 different tabs, and oh my God, I'm so sorry, Ruby. So that was interesting as well. Um, okay, this one I'm done with. You've seen that. Am I sharing? Yes. There is one last thing I've been digging around in after the whole Melissa blow up. Well, actually, while I was waiting for her to call me, I had about an hour and a half or something. I thought, what am I going to do? I don't want to drop off into a nap and then be woke up and not be, fully present or agitated. So I just started fishing around with my maiden name. And it's interesting. I took, I zoomed the page super tiny so I could take a screenshot of the whole thing rather than a bunch of little ones. And then when I went back to look at them, they're all blurry when you blow them up. So I
Oh,
had to read it and I lost a few things, but nothing super pertinent except, let me see, Aver's name. Um, it dawned on me, because I mentioned to Emma about the Himmler's coat of arms and the Aver coat of arms being similar, just as an off. I don't even know I told her that. But I'm looking at him going, well, what does that boar represent? So I'm looking this up,
oh,
right? And it's gone through time for a couple thousand years. There's Germanics, Anglo-Saxons, the Viking Age, early Middle Ages, which is what Himmler was all about. The different I guess I should bring up that actual crest again so you can see it, that boar. It's just it's like it's trotting, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I'm looking at this going, well, that one's running. I'm like, what's that about? Slovakia, Germany, it's kind of all over the place. The Romans. Okay, so there's that one. Army base, Avers, family name, meaning history. The boar in Belgium. Let's see. Oh, here was. Serbian coat of arms, wild bear coat of arms. It's the war flag, whatever. And I get here, okay, in Belgium, the wild boar is a symbolic animal of the Ardennes forest in the south of the country and is the mascot of one of the Belgian army's premier infantry regiments. The regiment did blah, 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 the soldiers of which wear a boar's head pin. And it struck me, I thought, well, is that why I was given all that infantry training, all the killing training? Because I'm of a bloodline that's there and they could access. You know how they say genetically that stuff, the disassociation moves down and the skills move down and I thought, wow, I wonder if that's why I got that. I mean, maybe Angie and Mary didn't test well, but I passed the test and I got the training. So maybe it is of a bloodline. And I don't think that I think it's probably more along the lines of a bastard child bloodline rather than the pure royal bloodline because we had no money. So if I was part of the royal bloodline, it'd be like Nathan Reynolds' family. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Where you know, his father sold him off to his grandfather for all of his abuse, and that was his ticket to get the money and the phone book, is what Nathan says. The phone book being the names, contacts, and power. And he said when the minute his father did that, they were instantly wealthy. They were buying airplanes and all sorts of shit. But the only way that happened was his dad sold him to his grandfather, so his grandfather could abuse him and train him and turn him into something.
the dad sold him to the grandfather.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you don't listen to much of his stuff, huh? Yeah. Because the Reynolds family, like Reynolds aluminum and Reynolds cigarettes and all that, it's that family line. But Nathan Reynolds' branch of that family wasn't really involved in that. They were involved in being the phone book, so to speak. They had access to power and control, and they had the soldiers, slayers, enforcers. They were more of the witchcraft aspect that moved from what he calls the family into the government. That was his branch of the family.
Huh.
And so when, yeah, the price for his father to get the inheritance and power, he had to give up his son to his
So
father.
that was that on the paternal side or the maternal side?
Paternal,
So he
his
sold.
dad's side.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. So that was the price. And I thought, well, my family never had any money. And I don't think my grandparents had a whole lot of money. I think they had enough money to afford their trafficking business and all that shit, but they weren't wealthy. And my dad certainly wasn't, unless he hid money from my mom, which is entirely possible. But so it just got me thinking, I wonder if that's my bloodline, is this Belgian
I
infantry.
remember you saying that your dad was, where was he stationed over in Belgium?
Well, I remember I thought he was stationed in Belgium, and Angie said, no, 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 no. It was, he went there for business when we were little. So during the time he was taking me to the mob clubs at like the age of two, maybe up, age 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me. Dad was doing business trips to Belgium, coming back, rubbing elbows with the mob, meeting Jack at the CIA, getting me tested, and then MK Ultra me and sending me to training camp, which Angie and Mary went to as well, but they went a different route for me based on our
And
tests.
what kind of business was your dad doing in Belgium?
He, I don't know in Belgium per se, but if he went for his job, the business was called Bostrom. And remember they made those professional seats for like aircraft or the military tanks and stuff. It was just specialty seating for high, high level jobs. Something a fighter pilot, the chair for the airplane, or the chair for a train conductor, or the chair for, whatever. But that company had connections to, interactions with, and job contracts with the government and people all over the world. They only have one branch, one, and that's in Milwaukee, where my dad worked.
Oh,
So
is
they
that
had
right?
connections, worldwide connections with governments all over the world. And they sent him to Belgium. They had to know his last name, and Avers is popular and widely regarded and respected, or Aver in Belgium, also in Germany. And I wind up going to Germany in the army, and they know my courier code name, and they know to send me to Himmler's castle because she's already, SRA trained. She's already a killer and a sex slave and knows how to keep her mouth shut.
Mhm.
So, and there were people from all over the world that went to Himmler's castle. So I think that my name is connected to that bloodline. And you can look it up and see that there's some Avers in Africa, and there's Aver is a first name for a lot of Jewish people, and Aver it means, it means Abraham in the Hebrew world, which I thought, well, that's kind of cool. Aver means Abraham, which I'm not really sure how that works. But B and V have the same kind of similar mouth. Abraham, I don't know. So, but I think it's a bloodline connection.
It's
And
still, related, but a little unrelated. But when you mentioned about the date or about when you were over, right, at Himmler's castle, I'd be interested in finding out Aquino or Aquino, the guy, from the Presidio abuse.
I couldn't find the year that he was there. It's not mentioned anywhere.
Because since he took that whole thing to the next level, he would have then been a very powerful individual. And he has, he's got the darn dagger.
Yeah.
And there's actual dagger. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, if you're gonna, he quit the Church of Satan because it wasn't the real deal enough for him. So
Yeah, I'm struck by the similarity of these two.
yeah,
Oh, see, I don't know why it does that every single, oh, there, yeah, with the boar on top for our name. Gosh darn it. And oh,
yeah, it's virtually identical.
it is, except for the
That's
hat
right.
and the colors are the same, except this is a vertical differentiation and this is a quadrant differentiation, which frankly, this reminds me of military quadrants.
Yeah.
But they both have this shield with the same headdress on, just different colors. Gosh darn it. I'm trying to move it,
But
but
still
this,
same color scheme though,
yeah,
red and yellow.
yeah. There, now it's gonna do it. How annoying is this?
No.
Well, there we go. Okay. But yeah, I mean, so that's what made me thinking, well, what does the boar mean? And as I'm running into it, I mean, it's for infantry and for fighters. And it's so gobsmacking to me even to think of myself as even doing what anything near what, you know, Chris did or Nathan Reynolds. I mean, that's something you choose a man for, not a 5-year-old girl. I mean, I don't know
Although
what Carrie Elahe went through, but they call her a super soldier. She doesn't really talk. She talks about the butcher stuff, but I'm like, why me? And it probably has to do with the bloodline.
and I think it's a perfect thing for them if part of what they want to accomplish is
Have the sleeper
espionage.
cells. Yeah,
Yep. And as you said, they used you to kill. So you've got pedophile men that are using. They're not going to be prepared for a little girl that knows how to do lethal moves. And so
exactly.
I can
Yeah.
see how incredibly
Oh,
useful
I
it would.
never thought about it from that point of view. It'd be the element of surprise. Because you would use the sex to seduce them,
Yeah,
get them into a compromising situation, either take whatever you're supposed to take for information wise or assassinate them.
yeah. So the last thing I think any perp would anticipate is a little girl going to be a lethal threat.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's what they used before in Milwaukee at the rich mansions and stuff. Granted, I didn't seduce them. I was just there for a pedophile to take into the room. But as an adult, that would make sense. And it would make sense why when I was in El Paso, excuse me, they were just programming me and programming me and programming me to stay in the army. And I didn't. I still don't understand why I didn't. They programmed me too. Do you know what I mean? So
Which
I
means
somehow, somewhere, my parts were like, fuck no.
there you go.
Fuck no.
You outwitted them.
Something. And I think to myself, well, I'm not that smart, but yeah, you are. So
Well, and
it's shifting the way I think about myself.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and
I could say to anybody on it, who am I? I'm nobody. I stay in the background. I don't, and now I look back on all these things I've said and done and going, well, duh, I was made to be that way.
yeah.
And front personality Diana is like, is this really who I am?
So, but is not only that you outsmarted them, but here's also, I think, equally as powerful, pardon the pun, which is you were stronger than they were.
I'm getting, oh, I get that. Some parts really get it, and some parts are starting to
Because
realize
they thought they would break you down. They were so confident in their
and be their little puppets.
right in their
And I
sadism,
was,
right?
you know,
But they never broke you.
no, no. I never contemplated suicide, never cut my body open. Granted, I scratched the hell out of myself, but managed. And I even managed to live with a man withdrawing from psych meds for 6 years. If you think that's not fucking crazy, try it, you know? So, and it, I remember Chris's brother said to me once, he said, Diana, you're a strong woman. And I thought, you're fucking right, I am, to deal with that alone. But to come to the realization consciously, all the things I've done, and just squeaking through how I can, you know, I'm gobsmacked at where I'm at right now. Gobsmacked.
Mhm.
And it blows my mind. It's like I don't, it's like, yeah, I did outsmart him, didn't I? Never really said that or thought that, but I did. I mean, even here, when they come in with that access van at 4 o'clock in the morning,
That I'm telling you.
I'm like, what? And it all stopped when Chris started answering the door. It's like God sent Chris exactly at the right time,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
And they put it right out there, right? That's what psychopaths love doing. It's just driving around with an access van.
Yeah, yeah, it's for medical reasons. We're here for Jane Doe. She's got an, colonoscopy. And I'm like, every month you're coming here? What? That makes no sense. I've told you, no one here, no one by that name lives here. And I still don't know what name they used. Because if they had used Avery's, I would have said, because that was my name at the time. I wasn't married yet. So I would have said, you're saying my name wrong, and they probably would have taken me away. But for some reason, I said, no one by that name lives here. And I remember the guy going, really? I just right now, as you and I are talking, I'm
You
remembering
think
that
he had been shown a picture of who you were and knew that it was
maybe so, but I remember he was taken aback. And I said, so take me off your list. And then the second time he came, the same schmeal, except this time I said, what's the name of your company? Because I'd like to call them and tell them to stop sending you here. I don't have any medical conditions. That's not my name. I'm tired of you waking me up in the middle of the night. And he's well, I blah, blah, he was stumbling around. And I'm like, what's the name of your company? And I remember looking to see markings on the van, and it's just this white van that says access on it. He refused to give me the name of his company.
there. That I'm telling you.
And I think that may have happened one more time, and I laid into him. And I was like, you quit fucking waking me up. And
Seriously.
then the fourth time, Chris answered the door.
4 times.
And 2 times with Chris. And I think they got a clue. We can't access her anymore. And I don't know how that happened or why it happened or when it happened, except, well, no, I didn't even know Alan won at that time. So I don't know what happened to change, but a different part responded.
Mhm.
Or he said the wrong code word or something. I don't know.
Well, again, you outsmarted them.
But he didn't say Avery's, because that's the courier code word. So whatever code word, I don't know. I'll have to hope maybe I'll remember eventually. But I wasn't even thinking about that till right now. But yeah, I did outsmart him, didn't I? Somehow, some way. And I remember all those, I moved 10 times in 10 years, and it was always to follow a guy somewhere or something. I was always just, it was I wasn't thinking I'm escaping this bullshit. Oh, I'm in love. I'm gonna follow you. Let me go to and then we'd get to that location, I'd realize I was a loser and I'd start my life again in a new place. And 10 times, John, in 10 years.
But in each of those employment situations, they found you.
And they accessed Avery's to at least pass notes or something back and forth. It was just always little small pieces of paper that you could easily think of as a piece of trash. So I remember, oh, do you have a trash? Can you throw this away for me? And I'd say, yeah, because we were in the middle of the store, I'd tuck it in my pocket and think to myself, well, I'll wait till I get to a trash can. But I don't think that's what happened. I think maybe somebody else approached me maybe 2 or 3 hours later in the day and came and picked it up. Yeah, 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 that's what I'm remembering right now, reaching in and handing what I thought was a piece of trash to somebody else. And my part saying, maybe somebody you worked with.
You wonder how they were able to track you. That's
Well, you've got to, every place you go, you've got to get a driver's license, register for driver's license, right? I registered to vote, so there's your social security number. So, I always did what I was supposed to do when you moved. I didn't change my name. I had to file my taxes. So they're going to know where you're at and where you work.
yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I was doing the responsible thing that a citizen does. Like Chris said, he moved once. He said he went to the VA to update their records for something because Chris has never gotten benefits from them. But for some reason, he said he went there to update the records. I'll have to ask him about that. And they already had his new address. Already had it. He said he was taken aback.
Wow.
That's when he knew he was being tracked and watched. And now you've got two trained killers in the same house that love each other and have each other's back. So I think they just, okay. We got him answering the door now. Maybe we ought to just back off,
Mhm.
you know? And it was, oh, geez, it was 6 years before we got married. So, and that all happened in the first 2 years that I was here for a year by myself, and then Chris moved in, and it took place over the first year he was here. So I think they were testing and trying to see if they could break through, and they couldn't, and so it all just stopped. And then I used to go rollerblading around Lockheed,
Mhm.
and that one person, and now this is when I'm working, doing Alan Watts transcripts. And like I said, there's a 3 mile strip. Go across the crosswalk, and I remember seeing a person in a car. They were standing outside the driver's door, and was just like looking at me. And I think they did that thing with their hand like this. And I remember thinking, well, that's odd. I wonder if they're just, their wrist hurts or something. That's what I was saying. I'm riding my bike 3 miles to the other end, the next crosswalk. I didn't cross the walk, but I turned, and there's the exact same car with the exact same person standing, except now on the passenger side with the door open, doing this thing again. And I just rode by. And that's when I got scared because I said, that's the same person. This is Lockheed, the military industrial complex. I'm working for Al. I don't work for Alan Watt, but I'm, I guess colleagues or whatever you want to call us. And we weren't even colleagues. I would just do a transcript and send it to him, and he'd say thanks. If I had a question once a year, he would answer it.
Mhm.
So, I know that they've keeping tabs on Alan and who Alan communicates. So at the time, I thought, well, this must be about Alan Watt. And now I'm realizing, no, it was about my MK Ultra programming and them trying to access me. But again, oh yeah, this was Chris had his heart attack and I started riding bikes about 7 years ago. So they were trying 7 years ago.
It just occurred to me, Diana, this is interesting. The key perp that's heading all this up, he's the one that he has military background. Did I mention that?
No, you mean Matt Osborne?
Yeah.
Or who's
Yeah,
heading
he
it
has
up?
military background. Oh, that's right. It was a different, somebody else looked him up. And he has a picture of himself standing in front of a rock with a rabbit on a leash, and it's called Fall the Gray Rabbit.
Oh my God.
I
Right in
think
your
that
face.
as a matter of fact, you could just enter his name in that picture. I think will come up.
What's
Yeah.
his name? Oh wait, let me share. Um, what's his name?
Matthew Osborne.
Oh yeah.
No, he talk about he's been dogging my steps for a number of years now.
With an E?
Correct.
So just what images?
Is that
I
him or
don't Here, wait, Matthew Osborne with rabbits. Yeah, see, I don't, Melissa and I can put the exact same keywords in and get two totally different
yeah, I'm not
results.
um
Do you use Google? I use Brave.
spelling better.
Huh? Let me try Google. I always get more images here. Matthew Osborne. Oh, Sborne with rabbit. Oh, here.
There.
Let me move this.
Oh, wait a
In
second.
front of a tombstone, scribbling. Is that him? Is that his
That's
face?
him. Little freak.
A black and white rabbit, too. That's Masonic, black and white.
Oh,
Yeah, black and white is a Masonic thing. I'm
okay.
sure it applies to many other areas, but
Yep,
black and white
that's his
is a deal.
little Twitter thing. Okay.
Standing next to a big gray tombstone that is a half circle, which I've been watching a show about trans people. I'll send you a link, but he talks about how women are always wearing shirts where one shoulder is showing. He said that is their way of showing that I'm male and female. I'm both. And so that's what that curve here made me think of is trans. Because you'll notice a lot of trans uh he she's will wear a single shouldered, not down
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm showing you,
yeah.
but a
Mhm.
single shouldered dress. And that's saying I'm male and female. He said that's like a code. That's why they wear it. And he goes into all how they dress and how they deceive you and the whole thing. He's got a lot of good stuff in there.
I wonder what that name, that Stribling, means. But,
I don't know. Let me see.
but that's Mr. Perp. No, he's quite the colorful individual.
Yeah, no doubt. Retired Teamster, Root of Comedy. Yeah, Stribling Equipment, John Deere, Funeral Home. Yeah, there's no way to know who that's
Yeah, yeah,
gonna be. Obviously, it means something to him.
yeah.
I guess let me just get rid of some of
But I
this.
thought, yeah, apparently he has military background. I thought, okay,
Yeah,
we're over the target somehow. Well, I know what it is. I mean, it's all pedophilia.
I know, I'm just, oh, oh, this is something you need to know too. I'll send you a link. Remember Melissa told me that Barbara Roberts suggested I look at two people, and one of them was Folly, and one of them was Wilfred Wong. Now, he is a person who has been fighting and trying to expose SRA in the United Kingdom for like 20 or 30 years. Well, he was just imprisoned, I think, last week or last month, just like right now. Anyway, I watched some of his interviews and he was talking about, he said the one thing Satanists do not want exposed, obviously, is their satanic practices. He said,
Mm.
and they will take it even to this level. There was a boy who Wilfred saved, was trying to, help, and they went to the authorities and were filing charges. And the man that the boy is accusing, saying, "This is my pedophile, this is the guy who tortured me, X, Y, and Z." Well, at some point along the line, I don't know if it was his father or who, but was allowed to talk to the boy.
Oh, it's over.
But he convinced the boy, he says, "You go ahead and you file your charges, that's okay. But I want you to agree. You can talk about all the pedophilia you want, just none of the Satanism." He was totally fine with being charged and with
That's
pedophilia,
interesting because Matt, I mean,
but not the satanic piece of
okay,
the
that makes
pie.
sense because he brings up Matt has every now and then, and there's a little energy behind it.
That's what they want hidden, is the
So he
satanic piece.
mocks, yeah, he brings it. It's like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah, the SRA, he
So,
mocks that, and
and I feel so bad for this guy because he's been successful in a lot of ways, but they finally found a way to imprison him. I guess some couple kidnapped a child to save them out of SRA. And whether this is true or not, I don't know. It's a whole deal. But I guess Wilfred said that he was in the country doing something by the side of the road or whatever, and these people came by and offered him a ride because now he's present in the car with two kidnappers. They got caught, and Wilfred is being accused of being one of the kidnappers, and he's saying, "No, I wasn't." So you know it was a setup to put him in jail. That was the vibe that I got. And like I said, I've not gone into any of the details or really more of his history, but if he's been doing this and exposing them for 30 years, of course they're going to find a way. And now that things are blowing up in the SRA world, let me take him down. Let me put him in jail. Let me shut him up, you know? So I just thought, wow, the timing of that is fascinating because you've had 30 years to deal with him, but you're only doing it now. And you did it in that manner. So it could be that a couple people that Welford was working with or associated with infiltrated his close-knit group and fooled him and whatever. I don't know. There's all sorts of conclusions you can draw from that, but you are over the target. And yeah, I will say something Melissa wrote in her email was that a listener, not any of these people associated with the LGBTQ, someone she's known for a little while, but apparently he is some sort of minister, theologian, I don't know what he was, and his wife is a psychiatrist who I don't even remember what she does, but they thought that your theology was off and that your psychiatry was off, but that they thought that you had a lot of good information. That was one of the feedbacks she got. And I thought, well, aren't psychiatry and religion at odds with each other to
well,
begin with?
psychiatry is medical, number one.
Yeah. And I
Different.
thought, well, then I thought, well, you bring psychology and religion together. So, but I would, I just thought about a marriage. How could that marriage work? Because psychiatry doesn't acknowledge God or spirit. And here's your wife, or no, that's the wife. And so here's your husband who's God and the Bible and theology. And I thought, well, I'm with you. I'm like, well, why don't you give me a call and talk to me and ask me about my theology or ask me about
Yeah,
whatever.
it's interesting, and I get a kick out of people that if somebody says they have a question about my theology, let's do a town hall meeting.
Exactly. Let's talk it out. I'm not saying argue
I don't
it,
need cue cards,
debate, but have a conversation. And I thought,
right?
well, I don't know jack shit about theology, so I cannot weigh in. And I trust that you know what you know, and I know it comes from a good place. So, and these Bibles that you've given me all work together, so I don't think those are bullshit. So I'm thinking, are these two people that have been, well, it brings me back to the same point. Melissa interviewed someone about climate change, and he starts going on and on talking about evolution, and he believes in evolution. And I was gobsmacked. I said, Melissa, I can't believe you interviewed someone that believes in evolution, was talking about it, because Alan certainly did not. And you and I certainly do. She goes, I didn't know that was going to come out of his mouth. So I know Alan's audience is not as awake as either one of us think they are.
Mhm.
And they're not, obviously they quibble with different points with Alan. Because this guy believes in evolution and he's just going on and on and on about it. And I was like, why didn't you just cut that shit out? But probably so as to not offend them. But so these are the people she's interacting with. And I'm like, I just think that you're of more value to interview. I do. And the other complaint that she got was that, oh, he's full of himself. He just talks and brags about himself. And I rewatched that interview and I'm like, well, okay, he said he worked here. He worked here for this many years with these type of patients, and that he's spent the most hours of anybody in the United States and Canada. How is that being full of yourself? It's stating facts. And even like with the article, they said, well, you didn't spend $4,000. Well, I'm thinking, okay, let's cut it in half, 2,000 hours. Isn't
No,
that enough?
but
Doesn't
what'll be,
that give you enough
yeah, isn't that funny?
experience?
But what'll be fun is
Oh, I'm like,
Carolyn,
these people are just quibbling about bullshit.
no, and people that have never worked in a prison. But what's going to be fun is, Diana, I have another interview set up in a couple of weeks with Carolyn, and she and I are going to do the numbers and help people understand. I underestimated.
Oh, really? That's excellent. That
Mhm.
is excellent.
I was
Oh, and I
actually
have something else.
very conservative.
One thing that I could not I didn't really bring up, she brought it up in the email and I just let go, but did you forge the signatures of your patients?
I initialed. Okay, so what was happening was this.
Okay.
Um, and I did not for so when they had a very unique situation, a setup, in the sense
Yeah,
that
because that was the same prison that you whistleblowed on, right?
no,
No.
they shut
Okay.
that one down. Um, but when the investigator, so the Department of Corrections, I was in the union office, and Ken Herdman, actually, my former writing partner, was there because he was the shop steward. And I was contacted by somebody in the Department of Corrections, and they said they'd like to interview me. And Ken said, "John, they want to interview me at Panera Bread." And
Panera Bread.
I ran it by Ken. He said, "John, I'm the shop steward. You're not meeting. We're meeting at the
Why
union
not in
office,
your office? That's
right?"
ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, at the union office. Oh, this was when. So I was put on administrative leave
Okay. What is
with pay, right?
okay?
Because they're investigating me.
Okay.
You
Because
know,
you did not go to an interview or you did go?
well, at the union shop, at the union office, that's where it was held.
Okay.
And so these two people walk in, a woman, a younger gal, and an older guy. And so we're waiting. So with the head union guy on our end, so it's Ken, myself, and this union guy. And so in come the people from the Department of Corrections,
To
but they
interview you
to interview me.
about what though? About
Well,
this?
they're gonna start to, yeah. All I know is um, the assertion was that, yeah, I've been involved in something. Okay, so we're gonna find out what.
Oh, and you've got your union representative, this,
That's
okay,
right.
the steward. Yeah, okay, I got you
So
now.
they walk in and they flash these badges. And I remember Ken said, "What are those?" And they said, "Well, we're special deputies." And both Ken and the union guy had been doing this for like 35 years or whatever. He says, "What are you talking about? I've never seen this." He says, they said, "Well, this is a special occasion or something." And Ken said, "John, don't say anything." He said, you have a right to an attorney." I said, "Ken, I don't have any secrets." And then they told Ken only one union person could stay. And so the head union guy stayed.
But not Ken.
So Ken had to leave. So,
Oh, okay, so you
so
have your union
the more
steward now.
seasoned and senior regional union guy, whatever we
Oh,
were,
the guy with 35 years.
there you go. So he stayed.
Okay.
So it was just too funny. So, but it was, oh, they gave me the Miranda rights, whole thing.
Really?
Um,
Did they
like,
arrest you
well,
or
they were
charge
going to
you or
try.
what? They
Okay.
what?
They were going to try her. They put me under oath or whatever.
Okay.
Um, but it's telling that. So here, these very seasoned union people have never heard of this. That
Wow.
in all their years working with the Department of Corrections, it's like, you guys are what? Okay, so that tells me this was a very special case. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. They came with all these envelopes and they're just trying to find something. So after I started to figure out what this was, they've got like 7 different plans they're gonna. So the first one is,
But why were
um,
they, what did you, had you, were you whistleblower? What happened? Why were
oh
they
yeah,
even
okay.
doing
So I didn't tell you about that. It's actually on
it?
church.
So this is the place that you did the whistleblowing.
No, this is now. So the whistleblowing was 2011,
Okay.
actually, but 2 years earlier. So I was
Okay.
I was helping the department. Well, when I reached out to what's the name of the group? I forget it now. A federal, I'll remember. Oh, Disability Rights Network. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So the Disability Rights Network is the only organization, it's federally mandated. They're the only organization that can walk into a prison unannounced and unencumbered. Okay, so the Rights Network was overseeing then, or was interested in the care of these inmates.
Were those the ones in the cages?
Yes. Oh, man, I've seen a little bit. I haven't read through
Oh,
these things. Okay, um, Pennsylvania was in trouble. So Pennsylvania Department of Corrections was in trouble. Dang it. Okay, well, go. I just realized the time.
do you have, oh,
But I've got
sorry.
here's. Oh no no. I have it written out. If you want to go to churchprotect.org under
Sure.
the Insights tab.
Insights. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I have a copy of what's called the treatment plan, so it's right there. But at the very top, so the drop down menu,
Okay.
I have the tab is when called to do the hard thing. Okay,
Okay, I'll read that.
that's the entire story of it.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, great. That's all I need.
So that's what it was.
That
And
was
so
the only thing I didn't really have any information about. She said, well, Melissa said that you admit it and then you deny it. And so she,
well, they were trying to say you
whatever. I
forged. I
don't
said I
know.
did not forge. I said I initialed that I saw them, which is in fact I absolutely saw them. But because I was under time pressure, they left without signing their form. So
Right.
this was a
I did know
monthly
that.
thing that you had to update. Um, uh,
Okay.
so what are your 3 goals for the month?
Oh,
That's a treatment plan.
oh, and they just need to sign off
That's
on
all.
it.
So you fill in the little box.
So
So,
they chose their 3 things, but
oh
didn't.
yeah. So I met with them, but now I'm having to go to treatment team meeting and I see I've got 3 blank signatures. I know that the administration is looking to make a case I can't keep up with my workload.
Oh, so you initialed them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
All right. All right. I
and
guess that
that
could
was
be
it. That was it.
forgery.
They took 6 months scouring thousands of pages of my documents. 6 months, and they found 3 sheets. They
Uh,
took 6 months. There
those
were two
three
people.
things. And did
That's
you wind up in court for this?
correct. And that's what the judge said. He said, what is this?
So
He
you
says,
weren't exonerated. He threw
yeah,
it out.
but correct. He said, why is this before me? This is an administrative thing. And he knew it was clearly retaliation from Crescent. So
See, the story out there is that you
I
went to
know.
court and you threw yourself at the mercy
I
of the
know because
judge and he
that's what this out
exonerated you because it was
that's what
first.
this Matt Osborne said.
Okay. All right. So you got
It's
all
all
that in the
manufactured.
video. You got all that in the video, right?
Well, I describe it.
Okay,
That's
fine.
on a blog
Perfect.
post. So
Yeah, see, and that's what just irritated me about the whole thing with Melissa was why can't you just wait for the guy's goddamn response?
yeah.
What is the big deal here? So anyway, I'll let you go. I know you got a client. Sorry,
Well,
you
and
gotta
I'll
be.
fill you in more, but it's yeah,
Yeah, no.
once everything starts coming out.
Yeah, it's just annoying that yeah, we shouldn't even have to be talking about this, but
Yeah,
whatever. All right.
yeah.
Well, I've
But
got faith in you.
oh, but at the very end, what I'm going to do, and this will probably be so there's going to be about 5 videos. The third or fourth will have my son with 2 different videos. But then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every single article and every single video, and I'm going to respond.
Yeah, and another thing too, that this couple or one of Melissa's people, I don't know if it's the couple or not, said that, oh, well, don't you know Nicole is autistic and it's common
She's
for
not.
for
She's
it's
not autistic
common
whatsoever.
for an autistic person to giggle and laugh like that
She's
innocent.
not autistic whatsoever.
Well, that's another
Whatsoever.
that was another point Melissa brought up, and I'm like, why wouldn't she say that in her interview?
She's not autistic whatsoever.
So that's another lie
Point
out there.
zero.
So anyway,
Uh,
just a heads up.
that's too cute. So I look forward to getting these out.
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah.
Right, well, God bless you, Jon Uhler, that you continue to expose the bad guys and squash them to dust with God's help. So
Thank you.
thank you for the help you've given me.
Okay. Well, we'll plan on next week.
Yep, for sure. Have a
Okay.
great weekend.
Thank you. We'll talk
Okay,
then.
bye. All right, bye.